안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 지금 9시 반이 좀 넘었어요. 아침입니다. 오늘 쉬는 날이에요. 원래 쉬는 날이 아닌데 근무가 갑자기 바뀌어서 오늘 쉬게 됐습니다. 운동해야지. 오늘은 지금 9시 반이니까 운동하고 샤워하고 서울에 갈 겁니다. 서울 집에 가서 저녁으로 간장게장 먹기로 했어요. 한 달 전에 예약을 해야 되는 곳이랍니다. 저희 누나가 예약을 해서 오늘 간장게장 먹으러 갑니다. 맛있겠죠? 지금 에어컨을 안 틀었는데 하나도 안 더워요. 지금 실내 온도는 28도인데 왜 이렇게 안 덥지? 운동 좀만 하다가 더워지면 에어컨을 틀도록 하겠습니다.
The idea that these were his henchmen going after Fauci, which we all know is true. All the reporting reveals it. Common sense reveals it. The idea that Navarro was freelancing, and then they say, well, he was violating protocol. What are they going to do about it? Mister, you're fired. Let's see what he does. We won't hold our breath. But looking through that lens, what does that mean about what they'll do next, Anderson? We have experts tonight to take a look at what has to be done right now to give us a fighting chance to get our kids in school.
Yeah, interesting about the Brad Parscale being out.
Yes, here's what I hear. Parscale is still very much in the loop. He did not have the skill set. Campaign manager is a funky position, Coop. It sounds like you're the guy who's making all the decisions. That's not really it. You're actually making the trains run on time and getting people to do their jobs. It's much more administrative and managerial than it is strategic. Kellyanne Conway is a rare combination of someone who can keep the trains on time and think strategy. She was invaluable to them the last time around. So Parscale is still in the loop. He has been moved because of a skill set. That's what I'm being told. The question is, who steps in? People who are raising money for the president are not happy. They believe it does not look like a winning effort right now.
Chris, we'll see you in about 4 minutes from now. Still more to come. An update on the killing of George Floyd and what newly released police officer body cam show about the final sickening moments of his life.
Energy powers us, and our demand for it continues to grow. As our planet endures continuing pressure for more, we face a challenge. Can we reduce emissions and transition to cleaner energy sources?
What happens now as the COVID-19 pandemic sends shockwaves through the energy sector? With crisis can come new opportunity, and I'm finding out how the world is adjusting to this new energy reality.
The Global Energy Challenge, this weekend on CNN, in association with BP.
From what I've seen, you have been keeping fit in perhaps the most adorable way possible, which is with your son Leo. Does he enjoy working out with his dad?
He weighs about 14 kilos, so it's a good weight for a workout, and at the same time I keep him busy, and but it's very fun. He's trying to replicate everything I do. I'm enjoying a lot this time with him. At least I haven't been home for 2 months ever, even before he was born.
Do you look forward to the day when you can talk to Leo about the fact that he was blessed by Pope Francis?
Yeah, it was like a magical moment, and he was super kind. He stopped by, asked the name, and then blessed him, and was very happy to have that.
Black Lives Matter movement gathers momentum across the world, some corporations are taking a closer look at just how representative they are and pledging change. Google has committed to the better representation of minority groups throughout the company with a goal of 30% in leadership positions by 2025. PepsiCo is following suit, pledging to add more than 250 Black associates to managerial roles by 2025. The Food and Beverage Corporation will set up scholarships for Black students and increase recruitment from historically Black colleges and universities. And Microsoft is pledging to double the number of Black and African American staff in managerial and senior positions over the next 5 years. It's also committing $150 million to its diversity and inclusion initiatives. For more information on how you can help fight racism and injustice, go to cnn.com/impact.
I'm Anna Stewart in the City of London, and this is CNN.
Tonight we want to end with an important new development in the case against Minneapolis police officers charged in the killing of George Floyd. As you may remember, Floyd was killed after an officer put a knee on the neck of Floyd for almost 8 minutes. Today, a judge made the, almost 9 minutes. A judge made the body cam footage for 2 of the officers available. It's not been released to media outlets yet to broadcast. However, CNN has seen it. Floyd's final words, "I can't breathe." The video shows the officer's response to the call, yelling at Floyd, later removing him from his car. Shows Floyd sobbing, then walk to the squad car. That's when the video shows a big struggle between 2 of the officers and Floyd. And at about 11 minutes and 23 seconds, the video shows one officer's knee applied to Mr. Floyd's neck. Minutes later, we hear what appear to be his final words again, "I can't breathe." News continues. I want to hand it over to Chris for Cuomo Prime Time. Chris?
All right, Coop, thank you very much. I am Chris Cuomo, and welcome to Prime Time. Look, my argument is simple. Now is the time. If you want schools to open in more places than not in this country, this is the moment. And we have to start by holding power to account. We've got to start with the man who's in charge and is charged here with holding us back. Here is Trump on the record today.
We're all in the same team, including Dr. Fauci. I have a very good relationship with Dr. Fauci, and we're all in the same team.
Good. Then listen to the doctor's orders.
Let's stop this nonsense and figure out how can we get our control over this now, and looking forward, how can we make sure that next month we don't have another example of California, Texas, Florida, and Arizona, because those were the hot zones now. And I'm looking at the map saying we got to make sure it doesn't happen in other states. So rather than these games people are playing, let's focus on that.
Now, that's what Trump should be saying. If he can't muster the message, then at least listen to him and call off your dogs. Own the truth. Enough of this BS with your boy Navarro. Did you hear the latest excuse?
더워.
He made a statement representing himself. He shouldn't be doing that. No, I have a very good relationship with Anthony.
I can't explain Peter Navarro. He's in a world by himself, so I don't even want to go there.
No, Fauci doesn't have to go there. We need to go there. Why? It is time to stand and be counted. We've got big problems. Power needs to own what they're doing and move to a better place. And by power, I mean Trump. Come on. You know he's pretending he didn't know what Navarro and the others were doing. You know how that place works. It's all about one guy. As Trump told you yesterday, a crowd of one. It's time for the president to man up. You know you had your boys doing your dirty work. It's always the same. And, simple question, if you didn't know, if Navarro really was going rogue, then what are you going to do about it? Mister, you're fired. Where's this signature accountability for someone going behind your back, breaking your rules, and attacking your good friend who's on your team? What are you going to do? We're waiting. Now, while we all hold our breaths for that action, sarcasm, Fauci is left using his breath to comprehend all the ugly coming his way.
It is a bit bizarre. I don't really fully understand it. You know, I think that what happened with that list that came out, I think if you sit down and talk to the people who were involved in that, they are really, I think, taken aback by what a big mistake that was. And I think if you talk to reasonable people in the White House, they realize that was a major mistake on their part, because it doesn't do anything but reflect poorly on them.
I think he's right. Let's look at the evidence of what's happened since. The president is doing this pratfall. I didn't know. These guys are on their own. Yeah, because that happens a lot around the president. People going out and going rogue. You see a lot of that. The vice president tweeting out this picture of Fauci sitting next to him earlier, calling it a productive meeting of the coronavirus task force today. Hopefully it was productive. And hopefully these thug tactics have backfired enough to make Trump and co. think twice before shifting blame and playing a BS game in the middle of a pandemic. Our kids' normalcy is on the line. Getting back to work is on the line. So let's get to where the energy should be. You want to talk hoax? Fine. Your response is a hoax. Where is the plan? Where is the testing guidance? Everybody who got through this did it with central plans. Okay, of course the states have power, but they need your help. They keep asking. They're asking now for help with schools. Are you helping? Are we any closer to being able to domestically source PPE if cases come hard in the fall? Bring back manufacturing? Let's start with this. The pandemic is in full effect. It's feasting on us, especially red states whose governors followed Trump's trail of denial to their own detriment. Now, why should you be hot? Why should you not believe? Well, the record. But more importantly, this. You tell me how a president in the middle of a pandemic has got time for this bullshit. Are you kidding me? Hawking products at Goy, I don't care who it is. Resolute desk. This is what he's resolute about. Pandemic priorities. His daughter Ivanka, top White House advisor. Are you kidding me? Marketing for a brand following calls for boycotts after Goya's CEO heaped praise on Trump last week. On your dime, in the middle of a pandemic, they're selling beans? Are you kidding me? Seriously. Seriously. This is not left and right. This is reasonable, my brothers and sisters. The guy's sitting on the Resolute desk with a bunch of Goya products. Proof positive of why we need many Faucis, but we only have one. Why? The idea of him messing with Fauci when he's selling magic beans is crazy. What reason? What good reason? What good reason? That's the question. Now, you say none. Okay. So then what's the bad reason? Now things start to look
저기
more
베란다에 창문이
shift the
있는데
blame, put stink on Fauci.
이 가운데 창문은 안 열리거든요.
Cut out the
고정식인 것
CDC
같은데
from data
이
information.
철창이 있어요 이렇게.
What's the good reason?
안전
Well, some
난관처럼.
hospitals weren't reporting.
아, 이게
What does that have to do with
없으면은
CDC
훨씬 더
being cut
좋았을
out?
것 같은데.
Make them report better.
어차피 안 열리는데
National Guard,
여기 잘랐으면 좋겠습니다.
give us the data and the administration. Why? I don't know the good reason, but I know a bad one. Lie, deny, and defy. The president keeps telling you the problem is testing. You
하지만
don't
법에
think that has
걸리는
anything to
거겠죠?
do with his desire for this
유두리 없는
information? Wake
이런
up.
사람들 같으니라고.
This is what's making me sick.
여기 팬티
I
보이는 거
do not want to
아니겠지?
see you people have to go through what I did. It never ends. It never ends, this thing, even a mild case. And look, you're going to keep seeing the desperation because the president is desperate. Not about the pandemic, about himself. This latest news, troubling. Trump demoting his campaign manager, Brad Parscale. Now, on one layer, that's what happens. He throws everybody else under the bus, and that's his prerogative. It's his campaign. On the other, it means he's going to be looking to get blame away from him, and that's where it gets dangerous for us. So keep an eye on him. Hold him to account. Make him do his damn job. But now let's talk about what that job should look like.
오늘
So we have a frame of
미용실을
reference.
갈까
Two top former
고민되네요.
public health officials. Former HHS Secretary Kathleen Sebelius and former FDA Commissioner Dr. Margaret Hamburg. It's good to have you both. Sorry you had to listen to that, but you know, sometimes in this business, I see what's coming so clearly that literally you get desperate about trying to get people to see it, like you're waving your hands. Here it comes, stop it from coming. And I try to do what I can. First, Secretary Sebelius, HHS, very honorable agency, important work. The idea, though, of supplanting the CDC and having hospitals directly convey information either to HHS or somewhere else within the administration stinks to high heaven. To me. To you, what is your take?
Well, Chris, thanks for having me, and it's great always to see my friend and colleague, Dr. Hamburg. I think it's a very bizarre decision. First of all, HHS is an umbrella agency. CDC is one of those agencies. But CDC in Atlanta is the Centers for Disease Control and Protection, the public health backbone of the country. They collect the data, they write the guidance, they are the epidemiologists, they're out ahead of the virus, they're telling us how to track it. I have no idea what database HHS is putting out, what they're collecting, who is collecting it. What means is they're bringing data in and then they're going to send it to Atlanta, which means it's going to be slower and more inefficient as far as I'm concerned. And more frightening is that, my understanding is, whatever database they're going to use at HHS is not open to the public, unlike the CDC database. So we are taking a step away from the public health agency and away from the public being able to see with transparency what's going on with hospitals. If it's too slow, if they're not getting the right data, then demand the right data. That is not rocket science. They've been doing this now for 6 months.
You know, if you don't like the process, then attack the process and create accountability, but shifting where it goes doesn't make sense. Dr. Hamburg, can you think of a good reason that they would be doing this? Maybe I'm missing something.
You know, I think it's a fundamental problem of not actually harnessing the capability and expertise that exists within an agency like the CDC. Maybe it's not working the way that it should be, but as you say, you address what's not working, you help to support it, you help to make sure that it is delivering, rather than moving it, creating a whole new system, which is going to have startup costs and inevitable problems. It's very, very strange. CDC exists to perform certain critical functions. They do it routinely and they do it in crises. Yet in this particular catastrophic situation, CDC has been marginalized. We're not hearing directly from so many of the experts who've dealt with these kinds of infectious disease problems. Nothing on this scale before, but still, that's where the expertise is. That's where we should go for these kinds of activities.
Do me a favor, Secretary and Doctor, and obviously Commissioner. Can you please stay with me for another block? I want to ask you about where we are with vaccines and what we think we need to do if school is a goal, just from your experience of procedure protocols. But as we go to break, just for the sake of argument, we have a lot of open-minded guests here. Let me have Dr. Hamburg back for a second. I just want to ask you one quick question as we go into break. The idea about Fauci, you worked with him. You know his reputation and you know it firsthand. The idea that Fauci is a bum who makes mistakes all the time and always has. He makes so many mistakes. He's gotten things wrong time and time again. Have you ever heard that said about him? Did you ever witness with any kind of doubt or misgivings him in the line of duty?
You know, this is remarkable what's going on. It's so unfortunate. It's so reckless. Tony is the kind of expert, a physician, scientist who understands public health, who has led this country and frankly the world through many other serious infectious disease problems. Any leader would be lucky to have him at their side, helping to shape a response, helping to guide and answer questions. And, you know, it is extraordinary. It's just so unfortunate. He works night and day, and he's not doing it because he wants to be elected to something. He's not doing it for a huge paycheck. He's doing it because he cares, and he believes that by bringing scientific evidence and expertise to bear, that he can make a real difference, and we need him now more than ever.
Secretary, I'll get your take on this as well when we come back from break. Thank you very much for being with me. Who would imagine that a great scientist like Fauci, during a pandemic, would have to rely more on his instincts of being from Brooklyn than what he learned as a scientist, just to make it through the administration he's working with right now? Unimaginable. But let's get back on the right track and keep people focused on where we need to be. We'll be right back after this.
We have to put smart policies in place, meaning that this very fiscal stimulus that we are going to inject, we have to be thinking of how best to put it in place to do the right thing. And the right thing is, well, make sure that we invest in the economy of the future that is greener, low carbon, resilient to climate shocks, that we invest in digital access for everybody. One of my worries is that the big winner of this crisis, the digital economy, may be good for some, but not for all. And by doing that, lack of access for everybody, we expand inequalities in our society.
Okay, U.S. hospitalizations are going up with this new surge of cases. Forget about testing is the problem. That's just BS, all right? Look, I don't want to use crude language. There's just no other way to get around it. The data shows it, all right? The Trump administration doesn't want you to get it. That's why I say the response is what the hoax is. In a new order, hospitals are told to bypass the CDC by sending all their patient data to HHS in Washington. I have a former secretary of HHS with us. There is no good reason HHS doesn't make this easier or better than having it go to the CDC. The chief of the America Public Health Association says this, the largest organization of public health officials in the world, by the way. The disruption that HHS is going to create, and confusion simply telling people to do something different in the middle of a disaster that does not work. It's like telling the soldier in the middle of a battle, we want you to fight differently than we trained you. We're back now with former Secretary Kathleen Sebelius and Dr. Margaret Hamburg, who was a FDA commissioner. Thank you both. Secretary Sebelius, how worried are you about the level of response right now in the context of the ability to adjust in time to get our kids back in school, at least in most places?
Well, Chris, I don't think there's a parent in this country or a teacher who isn't anxious to reconnect inside a classroom. But parents and teachers and school personnel and superintendents want the safety and security of all the individuals who go into a school to be paramount. That's step one. And we have disease now rising, not flatline, not going down, but rising in 35 states around the country. We have death rates that are ticking back up. We have hospitalizations that are, as you say, on the increase. So this virus is out of control in many parts of the country. We're running out of hospital beds. We don't have PPE. And we have a United States Senate who is stuck, who refuses to bring forward the bill that cities and states need. We need extra help in schools to put kids back with more personnel, not less. We need more cleaning crews. We need more space. We need to look district by district, and we need some very clear guidance and guidelines about what happens, where the PPE will be, what the cleaning needs to be, how you get kids safely to school if you can't put them on a school bus, how you feed kids in school. None of that is happening at a national level. What we have is a president and the Secretary of Education, shockingly, not talking about the welfare of the children, not talking about the safety of teachers and staff and parents and siblings, but talking about threatening schools with withholding of funds if they don't jam kids back in school. I don't know any governor in the country who would threaten parents and teachers with demanding that they go back in the middle of a pandemic, except Governor DeSantis, who is already seeing the most unbelievable virus counts and death counts that we've seen anywhere in the country.
And we keep reinforcing the idea that the federal money they're talking about pulling goes to the neediest kids. And the food that they get at these schools, which is often the best chance at nutrition during the day, that's what that funding is about. Commissioner, the idea of light at the end of the tunnel that